Sup nerds, I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
We're Neverboard Gaming, and today we're taking a look at the Mercury Protocol expansion for Helionox, or Helionox, or... It's hard to pronounce, guys.
But it's going to be on Kickstarter. So for the Kickstarter, it's actually going to come in a big box to hold the base game and the expansion, and you can get it with or without the expansion just in case you already have it. It's also going to come with a custom game mat that incorporates the Mercury Protocol expansion and all kinds of other cool stuff.
Now, if you have not yet played the base game, we already have an Our Thoughts video for that, and we'll have the link for that video in the description box down below.
So I actually had not played this game as the base game. I jumped straight into the expansions and playing all the new modules and stuff, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So when you guys were explaining the rules to me, you're like, okay, well, this is new, this is new, this is new. I'm like, well, the whole game's new to me, so it really doesn't matter. But actually, like, I did kind of try and focus on the newer things because I knew that's what we're going to be talking about. And I really liked all the, like, the new technology and moving around and dropping off delivering the resources.
The goods.
Yeah, the goods, the resources, whatever you want to call them. I can't imagine playing it without that now. Like, if I were to take that away, I feel like I'm losing part of this game.
And what's good is that you did jump into this having not played the base game, and you were perfectly fine.
Actually,
like, you weren't confused at all. It wasn't too much for you.
And I do think Aaron made a good point that this expansion is very much one that I would integrate into the game and then just leave it there. I don't think there's any reason to go back to the base game once you have the expansion in there.
I already think that the base game is a very solid venture away from regular deck building games. You know, we said in our Thoughts video that I think it does something very different. It's really unique, and I admire it for that. And I was a little worried when I was thinking about what was going to be added in this expansion, and I was worried that it was just going to be more drab, just more of the same. And really, it isn't. Now, I definitely do agree that, you know, somebody can jump into it, you know, having not played the base game with this expansion. It doesn't change the complexity so much so that, you know, there's all these new rules. But really, the fact that you're picking up something and delivering it, either just to gain the reward, which is these, you know, the 2 money tokens. It's 2 monies, but you can only use it in the market. Or to fulfill the actual request to get victory points. That is, again, a different thing that I haven't seen in any other deck builders. I've never really seen a deck builder that incorporates a pickup and delivery mechanic. And it's not specific. You can do it just to get that reward or to get the points. Like, it still gives you a lot of options. I was really impressed with this module being integrated into an already awesome game.
So the other aspect of delivering cargo that Tom didn't mention is the illegal tech, which you can get as a benefit instead of the worth 2 resource or monies. That has a benefit and a negative. So they're really good cards, but the card itself is, I think they're all worth -3 victory points at the end of the game. And every time you use the card, you take another negative victory point token, which is another change, but we'll get to that later. The first time we played it, we were all just like, there's no way we're going with the illegal tech. That just doesn't seem worth it. And then after like 2 or 3 playthroughs, I just said, you know what? I'm going to focus and get one of these just to see how it works. And it honestly worked really well, especially if you're able to get one of these bio-operatives that lets you cull cards from your deck or remove them from your discard pile or hand. And that way, towards the end of the game, you can get rid of that, and you still take a few negative points while you use the card, but you don't have those -3 points at the end of the game that does make it worth it.
They're not specific is the thing. They're not, you know, they're not really good in a certain deck type or really good
they're just
when you know, play this with another card. They're just gain 4, gain 3. They're really solid.
I wouldn't get like one of each or multiples because that would just rack up too much. But just to get 1 or 2 can be really valuable.
And only drop it like twice.
Yeah.
as I watched you use that illegal tech, like, it definitely gives you that boon where I was like, maybe I should do that. I was like tempted a couple times, but I was like, no, it's not. I don't have the cards to get rid of them, and I don't want to be stuck with these big negative points at the end of the game. I actually would just, you know, take these extra 2 points and try and buy more cards that would help me move around and stuff.
It almost looks like these cards are counterintuitive, because when you buy the cards from the main market, you are buying them because they have victory points on them. I mean, they do their special abilities, but a big part of that is you're building up your deck to be full of cards with good victory points on them. But then when you buy these, they themselves have negative victory points, so it's counterintuitive to what you're doing while you're building your deck. I mean, I guess since you're not actually, you know, paying for them in the same way that you pay for these in the market, like, I get it's a little bit better, but it still sounds on the surface like it wouldn't be a good idea.
You kind of are paying 2 credits for them because you're instead of getting these 2 credits, you're choosing that illegal tech. So it does cost you a little bit, but Wes is like a super powerhouse where he's able to use one card to take out these events that I couldn't even scratch by myself.
It is really just, kind of like the opportunity cost, right? You're taking a huge risk bringing it on, and you're sacrificing the 2 money, but like you're hoping that you'll get that magic hand where I have all this defense and then boom, this buffs it up, or I have all this money and boom, that buffs it up.
And you also have to have a little bit of pre-planning to get that card early on that will let you get rid of that card towards the end of the game. And then you are kind of crossing your fingers saying, I really hope that that card comes up when that card's in my discard pile so that it just kind of all works out and I can get rid of it. And also having other cards that help you negate those negative victory points. That doesn't hurt.
When you say negative points, what we're talking about is these negative victory point tokens. Now, this is something that's added new for this Kickstarter, and it kind of cleans up the base game, because there were cards that say, okay, you lose 1 victory point, but I don't have any victory points. How can I lose 1, So this really does clean up that. And that is something that this Kickstarter does offer. You can purchase the base game along with this expansion or them separate, but when you do purchase the base game, you get the reprint that has a few cards cleaned up, that has these negative victory point tokens in them. The event deck is now 1 stack instead of 3. There's just, I think after all the massive playtesting that went out from the last Kickstarter, they've definitely cleaned it up and kind of perfected it.
In my opinion, the number one reason why you would want to get this Kickstarter if you already have the base game is you need 2 copies of the base game to play 4 players, and this Kickstarter is coming with a bigger box that can actually hold all those cards with the expansion, because there's no way that after you sleeve everything that 2 copies of the game are going to fit in that box. 1 copy of the game barely fits in that box sleeved. That is a huge bonus in my opinion.
Box for the win! This Kickstarter actually adds more to the co-op of this game too. Like before there was you could play a co-op variant where you just kind of don't look at the points, but it actually adds mission cards now. So when you play a cooperative game, besides getting through all the events, you're trying to do these separate missions, which I think is really cool. Adds more variety to the game.
Mm-hmm. It adds more support for that version of the game, you know? It seemed at first that the co-op variant was kind of like an afterthought. Or you could just, play it co-op.
Pretend that the points don't matter, and it's still a good game.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, but now it's like, okay, now we have something we're trying to do in addition to making sure we don't get overrun here and all that.
Yeah. This actually gives you an extra reason to want to put your bases on each place, because now you want to deliver things quicker. It'll cost you less. Before, the only reason you'd put those on the embassies down is to actually go there to use an ability. And if you only want to use one ability, then you're not going to really care about moving to the other places.
Ultimately, I love this game, whose name I can't pronounce. I think it's fantastic. I really do think that the expansion does add a lot. I really kind of don't want to play without it again, and I think it's essential. Well, really, I think the box is essential. But again, everything that it adds is pretty phenomenal.
I really do think this expansion adds a ton to the game, and we keep saying it cleans it up, which it does. I think that delivering cargo helps speed the game up early on when you're just kind of all drifting around and figuring out what you want to do. Having that mission of what to deliver where gives you a direction early on. And if you're at that point in the game where you only have 1 money left in your turn and you're I can't really spend this on anything, do I just discard? Do I hold it? Now you have something to spend that money on and a way to get victory points and more currency for it.
Yeah, there definitely are times when you just spend an extra money to grab a cargo, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the request that you have, because maybe you'll get another request later where you need it, or hey, it'll be spending 1 money now for 2 money later. I'll take that deal. I'll take that deal all day, every day.
So there's really not much more that I can say about this game except you should get it. You should definitely back this game. If you already have it, just back the extra bit to get the bigger box and get the extra stuff. If you don't have it, this is the perfect time to jump in. You just get it. It's an awesome game. There's tons of, there's so many new paths to victory. Every time I've played it, I can take a different route.
Ongoing train wreck aside, this game is fantastic. If any of what we've been saying in this video sounds interesting to you and you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put a link to the Kickstarter campaign in the description box down below.
If you don't back this game, you're going to make little Jason here cry.
You're going to make him cry.
If you're watching this video on Kickstarter, the backing link's right up there.
You are literally here.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
Sup, nerds? I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
And if this is your baby, please call the number on your screen.